Passive aggressive students.
They're because they've been told to be there, or they're because they want to be there.
Yeah, enormously difficult in my opinion. I think the creativity of your creativity, your willingness to switch things around, your willingness to try exercises that get them moving, get them on the feet, is likely to diffuse that. But worst case scenario, I've stopped a session and said, this is too uncomfortable, I'm not playing. So that's the worst situation I've ever been in. I felt horrible afterwards and waited for the complaints. Yes, I didn't get any, but that is a really problematic one, and it starts to happen when they're getting tired. I'm not saying it's aggressive. I'm saying it, when you get that disengagement where they're sort of like really shut down on the back row, yeah, and you think they're really not. They don't see the relevance here. Yes. So I stop talking to those students and I actually start talking to the students that are engaged with me. So I have to jettison my engagement with trying to fix that. It's not my problem, it's their problem. It's the way I deal with it.
It's funny because actually one of the things I was going to ask was how to deal with that sense of when you're being irritated because somebody's doing something that you kind of, sometimes you don't realise when you've got to that point where you're getting more frustrated.
Yeah.
But you kind of just stop saying.
Yeah. I have fallen into the trap fairly recently of using humour and sarcasm to deal with a difficult situation. It came out all right, but I took a risk. Yes, somebody was texting and I asked them whether they were in love, because it was the kind of texting that they were setting up a date, I felt. Yes, I really went to the edge of, are you in love? Is this worth it? Meaning, I'm really, really not happy with this. Yes? Now, I took a risk that they would take offence to that. Now, the rest of the group just saw it as funny. Yes? And I got away with it. But I was right. I dealt with it on about 6 occasions in 6 different senior groups, and I'd had enough. Yes? I tried these are the ground rules, this is how it works, what's going on. I'd done the wandering around with the put that phone down. I'd gone right in close to some students saying, let me have a look what's on your text. I'm only doing it because you're near me. Right, let's have a look, what's it about? All that kind of stuff.
You obviously haven't heard my strategy then, have you?
What's it then? What do you do?
Them all on the first day. I set the ground rule that if anybody's mobile phone goes off or they're using it in an inappropriate time texting, there is a forfeit.
What's the forfeit?
You have to stand on your chair and sing I Will Survive. and we'll all join in. I do make them do it.
All right. Yes. I think you're very brave. I think you're very brave to do that. I think you're very brave. Yeah. I think you're very brave.
I went to a digital learning event.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a small group of other lecturers from different departments, and it was really interesting because we were talking obviously about different media we can use it. And a lot of them were saying that actually nowadays it's the expectation is that students will have their phones out and be using them, so we shouldn't be telling them to put them away. But for me, I find it really distracting for them to have it there. So
well, in terms of, I quite often say to a student, do you know what that word means? Right? Go find it out. And they will use their phones in the classroom to Wikipedia it. But they're using technology. I don't have a problem with that. I get the students to use their phones to do surveys. Yes, I get the students to use phones to their digital devices, whatever they've got, and there's more and more different types of digital devices being used. So if you're going to do that in your classroom, how do you deal with the fact that the phones are out? Especially when I'm hypersensitised to it. I see it and because it's rude. Yes? So at the moment, my tactic is, stop it, it's rude. Yes? Stop it, it's rude. Stop it, it's rude. stop it, it's rude, yes? And you do it enough and they do get it, because actually by stopping it, you're stopping, A, it's putting them on the spot and it's like loud and noisy and there's peer pressure potentially helping. B, they get annoyed by the fact you're constantly doing it. B, you're signalling that it is rude and they need to stop it. Quite often also, I will say, if I have to do that 3 times, I'm out of here. And then you have to see how far you're going to push that. Yes, and if you're going to do that, you've got to do it. Yeah? I don't think that would necessarily go down too well in terms of people worry about that in terms of the student experience stuff. Yes, all the the quality stuff. But I think it's perfectly reasonable to say to them, I am that irritated by this, I want to leave the room, what are you going to do? Help me.
You're teaching, you've said it earlier, how you're trying to teach them to be learners. And they're not doing that right then and there, so that is a process.
So you have to do it. Another technique I've used, if I've started to spot it, yes, I'll actually stop the lesson and say, right, stop, put your phones down, be silent, and I actually make them just breathe for a few seconds, yes, which just changes the energy again. It's like the exercise, but it's a silent exercise. And I've done that in a classroom 3 or 4 times, and they just realise, it's my phone that's causing Sarah to do that, I better not do it. So it's a bit of that sort of conditioning stuff. But you have to be so on the ball and so energised to keep that going. It's hard work, yeah? And sometimes it's just like, I'll ignore it. I can't do anything with it. And then there's an argument to say, well, should I worry about it if they're texting? What do you think? Should I just ignore it?
It's if you're capable of ignoring it, though, isn't it? It's hard.
As a professional behaviour, it's just rude. So I can't, So in terms of our corporate response, our departmental response, there's some work going on around how we might help the students understand that. Yeah.
I think as well, I feel like what you just said, you're obviously doing pre-reg and post-reg nursing students, aren't you, or postgraduate qualified nurses. And to put it into context, in clinical practice, they wouldn't be allowed to have the phone out and texting. So you're trying to teach professional behaviours as well as, university standards.
You're absolutely right, and I think there's something in there that's a problem in terms of that orientation of postponed and versus immediate application. In the placement setting, largely students would not engage with that inappropriately unless they're seeing it modelled by other staff. In the classroom, it's like we can get away with it, it's sort of okay. So if we say it's a behaviour, this is just my view, but this is behaviour that actually it's not a problem because I won't do it in practice. But from my perspective as a teacher, if they're going to do it here, they might do it in practice. I think we're better targeting the fact that helping the students understand if they regulate their behaviour in a classroom, they will learn more and their achievement will be greater in terms of possible grades, possible understanding of the relevance of this stuff for learning. That's what I think is important. And I will tell the students that. Yes? And it comes from that guy, Roy Baumeister. And it's a character strength that I would be wanting to target in our students. If you want to achieve, you need to engage with greater self-control, not only as an individual, but as a group. So you should be telling your peers, shh. Yeah? And they do, but it's scary to do. Yeah? If I'm wasting energy on that, I can't look at other things in the classroom. And sometimes I'll say that to the students as well. Yeah? And actually, if they get what's happening, they're likely, if you just do it to them, then they'll just respond possibly with resistance. If you take it to them and help explain it to them, it can make a difference. Is my opinion, is my approach, yes? But I also get very, very frustrated and very, very cross if it isn't something that is working in the classroom. And sometimes I just, you know, at the end of the classroom, you know, it's brought me to tears sometimes that I can't do it.
Sarah, could you have, at the beginning of a year where you've got a new group, could you discuss these topics out in the open? You know, turning up late, using mobile phones, and say, right, what do you all think about this?
Yeah. We do that.
Sort of
You get them to
policy
set the ground
or
rules.
they effectively draw up the rules and say, right, I can work with that, or I can't work with that, whatever they come up with.
Yeah.
And then remind them of the rules from later.
I think you can, and I think you do. But who's going to police that?
Well, you are policing it already, aren't you?
Yes, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to maintain consistency across a lot of staff when teaching is so complex, and that is one of the things that can undermine that.
In your class, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
The way I have to operate is that I'm potentially doing a session 15 times to 15 different groups in a week. When you know the group, there's no problem.
Right.
Yeah, because you can develop a relationship. You can say, Sally, stop it. Will you stop that? Because you know Sally.
Yeah.
When it's anonymous, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. So there are techniques that you can do. The last thing I want to do, because we've done loads here, missing the point. Yeah? When I'm watching students' eyes glaze over, yes? Does it make sense that you know somebody's not got it? Yeah? Yeah? You have a choice to stop and go back to it, yes, clearly, or move on because it's their problem, not yours. That makes sense, because you don't know why their eyes have glazed over.
Unless it's most of the class.
Oh yes. If it's the rest of the class, yes, it's like, ooh, I've got that wrong. My standard phrase is basically, oh, you've not got that, it's my problem, I did not phrase the question well enough. So you backtrack, yes, think very quickly and restart identifying. You might have to go back quite a long way to work out where you lost them, yes? But I take responsibility for it, yes? Because you can't push out misunderstanding. You have to step back and say, oh, I think things have gone wrong here, you're not with me. What's the last thing you remember that you got? Yes, it might be nothing. I might put an exercise in that actually gets them to recap what's happened already. So I'd throw something in that is about post-it note exercise, and then I'd look at what's happening, yes, and restart from there. So you have to be flexible enough to know what's going on, to work with what's going on in the room. If you're just on track to the next PowerPoint presentation, the next one, and the next one, and the next one, you're just going to lose it, aren't you? So I would own it and step back and say, I really recognise that you're not getting this. Yes, that's my problem. Let's have a look at what's going on. And somebody might actually give you a hand. Yes? If you ask the right question. Yes? Does that answer your question?